Barcelona 3, Inter 3, 3-3. Heart-stopping, amazing semi-final first leg for the neutral. Welcome back to FFB, amigos. And today we're talking about the first semi-final since 1998 to have a 3-3 draw or that many, such a high-scoring tie. So even though it was a tied game, it was an amazing game. It's only the third time. It's been 300 UEFA games, Champions League games for Barcelona. And it's only the third time ever that they managed to not win a game after scoring 3 goals. And that's what happens when you're a highfalutin, high line playing team as they were today. And honestly, I think they got away with might because that was a crazy high line most of the time, lined up in the half line. When in defense, when in transitional defense, they gave so many opportunities. Inter was not able to exploit with that high line, which I thought was ridiculous. As much as they could have, they played this really well the second and third ball. But I think there was a chance for a first long ball there that wasn't exploited all the time. And even when in attack, they were just in the other opposition's half with like no one even near to their own for half. So amazing that led to an amazing game and a young team as we know that they have. So a classical approach from Inter, playing more conservative, dynamic game, and Barça a very aggressive, high line approach to the match. So very interesting in Sagi facing off against Barcelona, which with a great tactician on the other side as well, right? And players, tacticians, they're the new breed, right? These coaches are the ones coming through. We are getting past the ages of the Mourinhos and even the Ancelottis, which is a little bit older in his years. And we're coming through. We got a lot of new coaches coming through, and certainly the ones that are making it to the latter stages of the Champions League, are making a name for themselves. In any case, so first thoughts when the match comes up: Barca in a semi-final without Lewandowski. Barca in a semi-final without playing in Camp Nou. That's interesting. That's interesting. I thought the environment might not be there, but see if I can bring up some images. The things were, the environment was pretty nice. They did a nice artful display. People sang beautifully at the beginning. So I think they were able to create a little bit of that Champions League European night excitement, even though they are in their alternate stadium in Catalonia, in Barcelona. And, I think they fared very well. There was a good atmosphere. To be honest, here I'm wearing the most Italian thing that I have. Of course, it's the Chelsea shirt. But because I'm in support of Inter for this game, because I don't want Barca to win it, and I'm actually rooting all around. You guys saw me wearing my French's shirt yesterday because I'm actually wanting for PSG. So I want Inter to qualify and to lose to PSG on the final because I'm a hating loser Chelsea fan, and I'd rather somebody is not gonna get too far away or too far ahead to win it, as I said in PSG. But go back and watch that video, and I'll give my explanations why I'm rooting for them. Really amazing beginning, and what a golazo by Turam. Amazing play on the wing. Dude, Inter Milan do this great wide play that I really love. Fast attacks. I love fast attacks. Putting the ball in. Taquito. Taco nails it in. Back of his little heel kick, puts it in, and now we have a crazy start. I think that's why the game got so exciting, because Barca felt they're still a high attacking team, but with one under, they had to go for it, and they sure did. Of course, it was a little bit of poor defending. Doesn't happen that easily. Marcus Thuram was giving way too much space to do that finish. He was just wide open in space with a low cross with not much pressure, but what a finish, and it was beautiful. 20 minutes, another golazo, golazo, chilena, golazo. Dumfries, who ends up getting a brace today. So that was amazing. It was a corner it was a set piece. Bastoni wins a header a little bit too easy. That's one of the weaknesses in Barca traditionally, and certainly now. They're not a big team. They're not physically that big, and I think they're a little bit at risk for that kind of a thing. But the at that point it felt like violently incisive from Inter, right? It's like the game starts and Barca doing the thing, and suddenly bam, get that gorgeous goal in, and then like set piece, boom, chilena, whapa, bicycle kick, doom. It feels like they were gonna get murdered, and that speaks a lot to the morale and the team spirit that Barca have, because they were not affected by it in the long term. But I think at one moment they felt like they were dying inside. But that's the magic of having a guy like Lamine Yamal, this child, dude. This child, este niño, tío. This kid is 17 years old. It's unbelievable. What a personality, what cojones, what ability. He makes it, pulls one back 2-1, highly motivated. So even though we're still in like the 20 something minutes, so even though it felt really bad, I think they needed that goal quickly, or else it felt like it was going to be a long, impossible night. And with a high line, they were going to get counter on really bad. It was so evident how I liked how they did it. So they would play up to one of the nines, and they would prime to have Dumfries or anybody else on the wings ready for that second ball. So somebody doing the hold up in the middle, be it Turam or whoever, and then play it wide for a really fast counter. And like I was saying before, I think the defensive players, if they had a little bit more vision, there were times if they just looked up and just dumped it. There was so much space between, because it was the middle of field to the keeper. They could just chip the ball over, and they had a 50-50 chance of or more of them winning, probably more, in terms of speed. And then you're one on one. You're one chip ball away from being one on one. So it was interesting, that dynamic throughout the game, and that I think that's what made it. You felt the danger of that game the whole time it was there, because the danger coming from Barca was playing a great, beautiful football, and they're surrounding the box of Inter. And at any minute, that if they recover and they play two balls, they're in the other goal. And that's what we saw a lot throughout the game. And again, a few minutes later, this 17 insane year old, destroys the defense. By this, Ferran Torres had missed two that he should have. They were sitter. At least one of them was a sitter. However, he corrects his mistake and he scores the second. Great vision from Rafinha. It's a great play, old school, that I like. That cross ball they used to play like into Dani Alves to the wing. Uh, and however, this time Rafinha heads it down. And it's a great Ferran finish. Very easy just to tap in the back. The comeback is complete, 2-2. And again, my observation there at the end of the first half is like, that line is ready to be exploited, but they're good in the press. That's the thing about Barca too. So they have the really high line they're playing. They know their weaknesses. As soon as they lose the ball, they're quick to press that first pass to avoid that. And I think it's a mix of Inter not realizing, or not their central defenders, for example, maybe not having that vision to put that pass through, but also the fact that they get and do at least the shadow marking in a timely manner to avoid that first pass. So beautifully they paid, Inter did play through them in two or three balls, when we saw a couple of taquitos and heel touches and short passes in the middle, which was risky for them too, because then you have the counter to the counter, which we saw a couple of times, where they would let a ball pass, or just a little flick of a pass because you had an oncoming runner. So that gave us such a speed. It's just a speedy game. I know you guys, those of you who watched it, please tell me in the comments, was that not one of the best games that you've watched this season and maybe in the last couple of years? And I'm so excited to see the return game. In any case, another set piece for Inter, 3-3. We kind of know the theme, 3-2, and then 3-3. And I don't want to make this video too long. You guys, please go and watch the highlights. But I think the main thing that I want to mention, which is no surprise, is like Lamine Yamal. What this kid does. I mean, I'm so jealous. Why can't all of these children that Chelsea buy be one like him? And everybody's talking about him going to be better than Messi or Ronaldo or whatever. But you guys have to remember that I think this is a little cruel that we do to young players, especially Chelsea being filled with young players now. Is one thing is how good you can play some matches or at youth, which I think he already surpassed that, right? He's showing some consistency. But then injuries, man, injuries could be cruel. The pressures of life and growing up, when things start coming in with agents pressing and contracts being given or not given, and people being paid what they feel they deserve or not, then training, getting along with the new coaches that come in with all. There's so many dynamics for somebody so young that could, we may be talking about an Adriano story or somebody that went wrong after a few years. We saw players. I'm happy to see Dembele back in PSG, for example. He was want to be one of the best players in history, and then he sort of disappeared for a few years for many reasons, and now he seems to be performing again. So I hope this kid can deal with the pressure and they can handle it. I think Barca did it successfully once already with Lionel Messi, and hopefully, and to be honest, well, Lionel Messi took the spotlight away from some of the other younger players. Um, Bojan Krijic is another one, for example. The talent was there, but you know, it's different. It's interesting. It's very difficult to see, but I think he surpassed that first barrier where the talent is proven. Now it's about not being injured and holding on for a long time. So basically, that's my main thing. I think that's why that individual talent is what kept them in the game. To be honest, I think this fixture would have been over without that player on the field. I think they would have lost the game absolutely, and maybe by an intense margin. And now coming back, let's hope. Let's hope that in the case of the Lewis, let's hope that Inter get that win. Please let me know who you guys are rooting for in the comments. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the return leg.